All right, peace to you, man. How are you? Today I want to speak about how this society really it's designed like a adult nursery. It's made in a way to try it tries its best to prevent you from growing up. It really puts obstacles in your way. And I think we're all affected by this, including me. It just wants you to stay a purulent child. And also in this video, I want to talk about what I think one of the cures to this is, or what I think the root cause of this is, and how to get rid of it in your life. Now, if you look around, I'm starting to see things in a new light. When I look at this world, when I see, let's say, a football stadium packed with people, just men who are painting their faces, they look like, they paint their faces with the, what's it called, the logos of their favorite team. They're yelling, they're screaming, they have beers in their hands, they're just getting worked up. I remember, I think just recently, the Cricket World Cup ended, people just freaking out over that. Pakistan losing their mind, India losing their mind, people just getting worked up over nothing. Women in their homes literally praying to God, please make Pakistan win, make our team win. Really, I now see these in the way of just, they're just big nurseries. When I look at a football stadium packed with people screaming, a cricket stadium packed with people screaming, it's just entertainment and it's childish nonsense that has no effect on people's lives whatsoever. It's childish entertainment. And this society, it's made in a way where it tries its best to keep you a child and not let you grow up. And this is a result of all the entertainment. You have all the entertainment in the world in this particular system. Anything you want. YouTube, all the videos that you watch, YouTube is going to specifically make the algorithm churn out videos that you watch and the subjects that you watch. If you like to, watch things about pets or, let's say, religious debates. And maybe not always religious debates, because religious debates, as somebody who's inclining towards truth and really looking for answers, those can be beneficial. But a lot of times people do watch it for entertainment. But whatever you like to watch, YouTube creates its own little bubble to give you that, and Google gives its own little bubble. You get advertisements relating to those subjects, and this is the cure to all of this, the childishness that this system breeds by all the entertainment we got. We have so much fun. Fun is for children. I mean, yeah, you can enjoy yourself when you go into your older age, when you become an adult, but your life is not, you don't exist purely to have fun, purely to entertain yourself. And people don't understand this. And what do I think the cure of this is? And what do I think has been the cure of that kind of mentality in my life? Because we all have it to a greater or lesser extent because we're raised in it. And school actually does a really good job of further inculcating that kind of mindset within people. But how do you get that entertainment, childish, nursery mindset out of your system? Assume responsibility. Responsibility, I think, is the cure and the key to destroying all of that. And I'll give you an example. I've been married to my wife for like a year now, a little over a year, and she can attest to this. I can attest to this as well. The changes that have happened in my life, the sacrifices I made, and the strength in my character that has built up as, being a result of just being a married man. It's unlike anything else. It's unlike anything else. And that is because I've now assumed responsibility. For most people, this is a young age. Oh, you're too young. What are you doing? Do you know what you're getting into? But that to me is just their childish nonsense speaking. I know now that because for the past year, year and a half, I've been married, I decided to skip all the nonsense that people my age do. They go to college, they go to university, they continue chasing girls, they hang out on the block with their stupid friends smoking weed. Because I skipped all that, I missed that train. I believe I benefited from that greatly because now I have another person responsible, or I'm responsible for another person. There is another human being who I am accountable for. I have to make sure she's straight. I have to make sure she's upright and she is okay. I have to make sure that she is provided for. I have to make sure that she is safe and well and happy. I have to make sure that she is on the correct doctrine. And she's good with all that stuff anyways. She doesn't waver or anything like that. She's very strong spirited. But this kind of a mentality now, everything that I do in my life, this dynamic, everything I do, I have to consider another person's safety and well-being. I think this has done wonders in making me mature. And I think this is one of the reasons why this society, it likes to push marriage off. It even just goes on to flat out tell you that you shouldn't get married. You're just locking yourself down and imprisoning yourself for the rest of your life. It's such a selfish and vile idea that they promote. I remember reading this article. I think it was about the Bill and Melinda Gates their supposed divorce. Now, I don't know the particulars of this circumstance, if it's just a hoax altogether, if it's just a ridiculous story, but there was an agenda behind it, because I think Melinda Gates, on one of these like late night talk shows, she was talking about why she divorced Bill Gates, or why she was thinking of doing it. I don't know if they ended up completing the divorce. I don't care about them. I wish that they burn and rot in hell, that they cook like rotisserie chicken in the fire. But Melinda Gates, she said something to the effect of, I think she said, the thought of being bound to only one person, I find as insolubly claustrophobic. She said something to that effect, that the thought of being bound to one person I find incredibly claustrophobic, and I can't do it. And that right there, that's an agenda. She was told to say that stuff. She's just pushing an agenda. And that right there is a testament to the childish nature of this society. For me, I don't find it claustrophobic. The fact that I, at a young age, or not really a young age, this is the age that people are supposed to be doing it, but in this society's standards, in my culture's standards, I have assumed all this responsibility at a young age. I think it's done me a lot of good. I've learned to now whenever I make a decision, I have to think of another person, and this makes me more contemplative. This makes me more it forces me to grow up and become mature. What else? I have to learn to compromise. I have to learn to lower my head. I have to learn to forgive. I have to learn to put my ego at the door. I have to learn to be soft. I have to learn to think about somebody else over myself. I have to learn to sacrifice myself for somebody else's comfort and enjoyment. And that is, I believe, this whole concept of taking responsibility, excuse me, I believe that is a key for curing yourself. Because if you don't, this society is just going to entertain you till you die. You're going to remain an overgrown man-child till you hit the grave. And that is what people do. People live their entire lives. Look at these boomers. These boomers who are in the old people home now. They have been utterly abandoned by their children, somewhat deservedly. Now, of course, the Quran does teach us to be good to our parents, since they raised us because when we were children, when we couldn't take care of ourselves. We should try our best to take care of them as they go into old age, but they, for the most part, neglected their children. These boomers, they had a mass amount of wealth given to them in their society, and what did they do? They chased after women, they chased after pop culture, Elvis Presley, all that nonsense, and the corollary of that, a couple of generations later, from their children to their grandchildren to their great-grandchildren, now we're in this utter disaster here. We're in this just nihilistic, atheistic land of savages where we don't know what to do, we don't know what to believe, we don't know the difference between right and wrong, and we're being terrorized by our government. And this is partly a result of the boomers and their complete failure. And now they've been abandoned. They've just been thrown away into their senior homes, just as they've thrown away their children's future. And look at these people. They're still listening to their music. It's just one big adult nursery. It's a bunch of people who haven't grown up. And that is a reason why the society pushes marriage. It pushes it to, oh, you're too young. Live your life. There's so many things you have to see in the world. What does that even mean? That's utter nonsense. What do I have to see in the world? I need to move on with my life. I have to get certain things done, and these things are not going to wait around for me. If you wait till you're of age or until you've experienced life, the good women, they're going to be gone. They're going to find men who are actually willing to man up and do something with them. They're actually going to take care of them. Women don't, that's a very effeminate quality, just to wait around and be like, oh, let's just wait over no, you make it the right time. You work for it to be the right time. And that's why they push off marriage till 30s and even 40s. There are people I talk to in their late 20s and 30s. They still think they're too young to marry, and it's unbelievable. And they push that off because this society does not want you to assume responsibility. Once you assume responsibility for another person, your whole life changes and you become more and more of a strong and dependable man. And they don't want that. They want you to depend on the government. They want you to be a cuck little soy boy who goes and tattles to his government. He just goes to his little neat job where he works at his desk in front of a computer. Then he comes home and masturbates to pornography and plays video games and eats weaponized food. That's what they want of you. And a family man can't do that. And that is why they push off marriage. They promote the idea that you're supposed to live your life. Come on, man, you're young. Live while we're young. Well, it's all foolish and it's all a deception. And this whole idea that it's all about my fun, my muse, my entertainment, my enjoyment. This is a childish idea. When you're a kid, all you look for is fun. Or like a dog. A dog in a lot of ways behaves like a kid. You just look for different playmates, different friends, different toys. You cry if your parents don't buy you toys. This is a childish mindset that the system wants you to keep. They don't want you to grow up because grown men actually stand for something and they resist evil. Grown men have the ability to resist evil and to set something else apart from this system and to be relatively independent and to trust on their Lord. They don't want that. They want you to depend on them. Children depend on mommy and daddy. And in the same way, this system, it wants you to depend on them. They want the government to be your mommy and daddy. Your government is your daddy, your big, strong, protective daddy when it goes out in wars with other nations and it fights them and it preserves the freedom in your country. And your government is your mommy as well. She nurtures you. She cares about your health. She wants you to be okay and happy and healthy. She tells you, no, 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 you can't go outside at this time because it's unsafe. They want you to look at government like mommy and daddy. And the only people that don't do that are grown men, people who have assumed responsibility in their life. So this idea that it's all about your muse, this is very childish. Like kids are always looking for entertainment, adults in this system are always looking for their entertainment. And that is a lot of the reason, or one of the reasons, this entertainment mindset. It is one of the big reasons and culprits behind the fact that people can't just adopt the ideology in the Word of God. They can't. Why? Because reading the scriptures, it's good for you. It is very good for you, but it's not fun. It's not entertainment. Fasting, these things are good for you. They're good for your health physically, and they're also good for your spiritual health. They bring you closer to God. But it's not fun not eating food. Eating food is entertaining. Getting your taste buds to explode with this flavor in your mouth, that's a lot of fun. What else is not fun? Fasting, praying is not fun. Being responsible for people is not fun. What else? Being accountable to an ideology is not fun. Standing up for the truth and being ostracized by your society, that's not fun. These aren't entertaining. These are the absolute opposite of entertainment. But we have to take that entertainment mindset out of us if we want to move forward and be mature, responsible, and grown men who are ready to raise the next generation of leaders. When you're young, do your best to, or at any time, let's say if you're older, let's say you've wasted your life for the past while, as soon as you can, as soon as possible, try to assume responsibility. Assume responsibility, of course, for a good woman. You're not to marry an unbeliever. Find a good, righteous, honorable, believing wife. Take care of her. Try your best. And in this system, I don't know how good of an idea it is, but I don't want to have children in this system. But I can only imagine how much it matures a person even further once they become a father or a mother, because that's an even higher level of responsibility. Try to assume responsibility. Another form of responsibility is being accountable to an ideology. You take an oath. If you haven't, let's say you're just watching my videos and you're kind of thinking about believing in the Quran, take an oath to God, pledge your allegiance to this book, and pledge your allegiance to this doctrine, and hold yourself accountable. Follow that doctrine. Make yourself responsible for things. Put responsibility on your head, and that, I believe, is the key to getting rid of that entertainment, childish mindset that people have. Let's live your life while you're young. And also this mindset of, oh, I don't really know what I believe. I kind of just, I follow what my heart says, what my feelings say. I don't really believe in a religion. I don't really believe in a scripture. Not being said, especially when men say that. No, I can kind of understand when women say that, because usually it's men, when they marry a good man, a righteous and honorable man, he puts them on the doctrine and they stay firm within it. Not all the time. Some women, like my wife, she was strong and hard. She was firm in the tremendous tradition before I met her, but sometimes they're like that. It's not totally unacceptable for women, but for men, when they say those kinds of things that, oh, I don't really, I don't know, I don't really understand about religion, I don't know what I believe. I'm just kind of, hey man, I'm just going by, living life, I'm just trying to have fun, just trying to be casual and chill. This is an expression of infancy. All that translates to, that's just a bunch of word pasta, which really it sums up to, I don't want to be held accountable to any system or ideology or any group, and I want to do whatever I want with my life and not hold myself accountable to any standards. Religion and doctrine, I'm not talking about mindless religion following your mullah, but seriously holding yourself consistent to a standard. Let's say even if you're a Hadith and Sunni, holding yourself consistent to the standard of Sunnism. If you're somebody who follows the Quran alone, you're on the tremendous tradition and you believe in all the previous scriptures, holding yourself accountable to that standard. If you are a Protestant Christian, a conservative Protestant Christian, holding yourself accountable to those standards, having an identity, knowing that identity and living it. That's a very manly and masculine trait. That is a trait that leaders have, holding yourself accountable. And this kind of flirting with different ideologies, not really knowing what you are, and at the same time not seeking. And I can understand if somebody doesn't know, but they're seeking after the truth. I was at that spot, man, for real. I understand that one personally. But not knowing and not caring to know, just kind of doing what you want, is a very effeminate ideology. It's not even, it kind of is an ideology, actually, and it's an expression of childishness. It's just basically saying, I don't want to be held accountable to any standards. I don't want anyone to be able to point the finger at me and say, hey, you're not living according to this standard and you claim to believe in it. That's all that is. And I abhor that kind of a way of life. They want that. This system, their standard, what they want of you is this archetype, and we've all seen it. The person who goes to work, he works his useless job at the office, he comes home into his apartment and just masturbates and plays video games all day. He doesn't talk to his family, he doesn't really have any real friends, they just kind of talk online, and most friendships anyways, they're completely meaningless because they're not based in any doctrine or ideology. They're just kind of people, they get together to share their addictions. They get together because they like drinking, or they get together because they like smoking weed. They get together to share their addictions and their poison, or they like eating disgusting, awful food in the restaurants. But it's not a real friendship. That's what they want of you. They want you working your useless job at the office, coming home, masturbating, playing video games, having very loose, weak friendships with other stupid people, living alone in your apartment. Perhaps you have a dog, perhaps you don't, being just juiced up to the maximum, and no wife, no children, no responsibility, no ideology, no doctrine other than serving your own pleasures and your appetites and worshiping yourself and your own comfort, and perhaps maybe having a girlfriend and dealing with her loosely on the side. That's what they want. That is a very common archetype you see in this system and society, and that is the standard. That's what they want for you, because that man can do nothing. He can do nothing. He is completely powerless and dependent on big mommy and daddy government. He is a weak and defeated man in every respect of the word. No accountability to anything. And that is what they want of you. I don't know how much of an uphill battle it's been for me, for at least my peers and people in my life, people in my family. I've had to fight for the respect that a man deserves. I have to fight for it. I have to show them that I'm not a child. I'm not wasting my time here. But they think of 20-year-old as a child, because most people who are 20 years old, they are like children. They're just smoking weed. They're going to university. They're living while they're young. They're listening to music. And I've always had to fight an uphill battle to earn my respect on the block. And I think the best way to earn your respect is to show that you're a man ready to take responsibility. Take responsibility and stick it to the system, because the system does not want you to take any responsibility at all. It wants you to remain a child in their little nursery. They want you entertaining yourself in their constant just bombardment of information. They want you occupied. They want you busy with nonsense. They want you pacified. They don't want you to stand for anything. Me, I stand for my ideology. I stand for my way of life. I stand for the Quran. I stand for the worship of one God. I stand for the law of God. I stand to hold myself accountable to all these principles which I have pledged allegiance to. I stand for my wife. I stand for my family. If God, let's say he blesses me with children, I stand for them as well. And these responsibilities that have been put on my head, they forced me to grow up. I had so much childish, foolish, puerile kind of a demeanor before getting married. I had so much of that, and it had to go out. It had to go out for me to make this marriage work. It had to go out for me to be a successful man. And I want to be the kind of man that my wife looks up to. I want her to see me as just like the greatest mortal that I can possibly be. I want her to look up to me, to see me as a leader, to feel like, wow, I can really trust and depend on his leadership. I want her to see me move mountains in the cause of God. And in order for me to do all those things and to be successful in my task, I have to grow up. I had to. And that is what I recommend to you guys. You grow up, put down the entertainment, start assuming responsibility. Be accountable to an ideology, be accountable to a people, be accountable to a wife if you can find a good one, if God blesses you with that, and also be accountable to children as well. If you feel like you're in the position to have children right now. If, let's say, you have a more natural and wholesome environment. But that, I believe, is the key. Once again, that is our ticket out of the mindset that the system wants you to have, because it's a weak mindset. It is a controllable and effeminate mindset. You want to assume responsibility at a young age. You want to be like the Amish boy on the farm. Literally by the age of 6, his dad is taking him out to the farm. His dad is working him in the field. His dad is teaching him the way of his fathers and forefathers and grandfathers. His dad is showing him the way of life. He's reading the Bible with him. He is teaching him how to be a man at a young age, and that is what you want to be. If not, then you're just going to be mentally masturbating all day on the internet and entertaining yourself, and you're going to die a failure. You're going to die a failure. And all the good women, they're going to pass by you. They're going to go and find another man who's wanting to do something with his life, and you're just going to be alone, sad, pathetic, regretful failure. You're going to be sitting in an old person home, listening to your music, wondering, wow, where did my life go? When did this all pass by? I'm 60 years old now. That's what's going to happen to you. So assume responsibility, be a man, don't let the system cuck you. But anyways, men, that's really all I have to say on the matter. I hope this talk was a blessing. And yeah, peace to you. Remember, deceit abounds, so keep your eyes wide open. Peace out.
Assalamu alaikum, men. My name is Waleed Naeem, and I have dedicated my entire life towards spreading the truth about the words of God. And I don't know about you, but personally, I have grown sick and tired of all these mainstream religions, and specifically the mosques, which have utterly failed us. I'm fed up with them placing the words of man, specifically their fabricated hadiths, at a higher authority than God's holy scriptures, their lack of knowledge about conspiracy facts and realpolitik, and their complete ignorance of the true nature of our earth. I've had enough of their compromise, their weakness, their lame sermons which put people to sleep, their virtue signaling, their fear of facing any real persecution, and their willingness to let the quote-unquote secular atheist utterly trample over them. The atheists own all of the educational boards and teach their propaganda to every so-called Muslim and quote-unquote non-Muslim child here in the West. And now with the Toyota Corolla hoax, the atheist has successfully broken apart our communities and made us utter slaves to their government. Our so-called quote-unquote Muslim sons are a bunch of wannabe hood rat gangsters who vape, drink, smoke weed, and party like animals. And our so-called quote-unquote Muslim daughters are not much different. They have no interest in hearing about the word of God. They are all too busy YOLOing. This has all happened while the imams have been living very comfortably off of the hard-earned money of their community members in the donation bins. As stated before, I personally am completely fed up with this. The mosques have had all of the support, funding, enfranchisement, and time of our communities and have produced absolutely nothing. The atheist has made the so-called quote-unquote Muslim man his bitch. He has steamrolled him in every way possible. That is why I created Eyes Wide Open. This channel exists as a call to action for all of those strong believing men who trust in their Lord fully and refuse to compromise the Quran. It is time the true sons of Adam and the inheritors of the tremendous tradition, in other words, the true Quranic Muslims, to set up something for themselves and fearlessly stand up against the madness that is going on in the world. What you see with my channel right now is only the beginning. These short videos I make in my car are all that I have time for right now, working a full-time job. I scribble these together while at work and make these videos while running errands. But you ain't seen nothing yet. If God should will, I have so much more in store for Eyes Wide Open. I want this to be a platform for the believers. Just a couple of things I have planned for this channel is, firstly, creating scholarly books, documentaries, and essays to arm you guys with the intellectual firepower for dealing with all of our enemies. Secondly, I would like Eyes Wide Open to be a center for heavy activism, public and street preaching, going to City Hall, organizing protests, knocking doors, going to baseball, hockey, soccer, basketball, and other major sporting events and preaching to the people leaving the stadium, going to the totally failed mosques, synagogues, and churches and debating with their religious leaders, going to universities and debating the quote-unquote secular professors on their laughable so-called science, and much more. It's time the believers start to fight back and shake the cage of this disgusting system. My goal is to create a base for the believers. I want people to know of our name, that there are dedicated, zealous, and studious men who do not compromise the word of God, and we are ready to take action. If we keep waiting for our mosque to do something about the real problems of this world, then we will be waiting until Judgment Day. We need to create something now from the ground up. With that being said, may God bless us in all of our endeavors and guide us every step of the way. If this sounds like something you are interested in, and if you want to be a part of the movement, then you can help me out. My Patreon and PayPal are linked in the description of every video. And, God willing, if enough generous believers decide to fund this platform, then I can quit my full-time job and look for something part-time, or, even better than that, leave employment completely, which will give me more hours in the day to do this work. I do not care to be rich. All of that stuff is vanity anyways. But the fact of the matter is, my wife and I need to eat and have a roof over our heads. So, if you wish to support the cause, then I thank you sincerely for that and promise to fight with might and main in the cause of God for the believers. If you are not able to, hey, then I totally understand. Find somebody else who needs that money and give it to them. Give it out of fear of your Lord and in dread of that great and terrible day, which is coming to all of us. For all of the believers out there, the brothers and sisters who follow hard upon the truth, all I can say is much love to each and every one of you. May God reward you in this life and the hereafter. Praise goes to God alone. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Peace.